Okay. Where am I? There I am. Okay. Okay. Is it any better, Mary?
Yes, Nina,
Okay.
so far.
I switched rooms, which helps because there's no echo now.
Uh-huh.
Okay, good. Are you outside? No, you're inside.
No, I'm inside.
Okay, well, I hope some people sign up, but if it's just us, it's just us.
Okay.
So anyway, a bolster, a couple of blocks, bolster pillow and a couple of blocks is all we need. I'm going to check with Samantha. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Anyone else coming in, Samantha? Let him in. Oh, there comes someone. Who's there? No, just us. Okay. Well, we're going to get started. Yeah, I mean, I can tell this sounds better to me because I'm not getting all that reverb, but this sounds awfully dead in here, but there's nothing the matter with that. So we'll get started. We're still working with this concept of working with the mind, but it's very different when we're in a restorative class, right? Where we might not do 5 repetitions this way and 5 repetitions that way. Although we will be doing some different things today and some movement. But take it down to your back to start. So we'll bend the knees, we'll put the feet on the mat, and we'll lower all the way back down. We want our feet to be a little bit wider than our hips. And my feet aren't real close to my bum. I can walk them out a little farther. And then maybe the thighs rest on each other comfortably, right? So I notice that when I bring my thighs together, then that means my feet have to come in a little bit. Pinky toes aren't on the edge. For me, I have really short legs. But once you get that lower body set up, then let's bring the hands to the belly. And just notice where you are right now, right? So we feel the whole back of the body on the earth. And let's just take a few good breaths right here. So we want to come to that place where we're back with those slow and even breaths. And just give yourself a chance to get there. I'm just going to sit up so that I don't fall asleep as I'm teaching. But give yourself a chance to get to that place where you have those even breaths. Welcome to Carol as well. Carol, I've moved rooms, so I'm hoping that the sound is better without all the echo. And we're starting on our backs in constructive rest pose today. So I'm sure once you get there, your pup is going to enjoy this one too. We're letting the thighs rest on each other. We're letting the hands rest on the belly. And we're returning to those even, slow breaths. And take a scan of the body right now just to notice any tension that you're holding on to. So specifically, like there I was lying there and I felt that my shoulders were kind of hiked up. So let's soften that. We don't need tension in the shoulders right now. If the hands are resting on the belly, chances are good the upper arm is on the earth. And we really don't need any effort from the shoulders or the arms. You know, we kind of have things stacked appropriately. Same thing with the hips. There should be a way that you can rest there without using any effort in the hips. So scan the body looking for those areas, those things where you're holding tension that we don't need right now. Another place would be the jaw. And then once you've identified those places, isn't this constructive rest pose even more wonderful? Like, wow, now you can rest. So stay there. Focus on the breath. Now, as I talked about in the previous class, we're working with this concept of resilience pretty much all summer long, and ways to change the brain. And there are 4 ways to change the brain: through repetition, through novelty, doing something new, through passion, what excites you, and then through focus and awareness. And that's a very different class when you bring those things into a restorative yoga class, but I still think they will apply. So we're going to try a few different things today. We're going to do some repetitive things, and hopefully something incites your passion. So we'll bring that right palm to heart center. We'll put left palm on top of that, and we will take the time to set an intention for this practice. And it might be the word resilience, or it might be anything else that's important to you today. And then we'll release those hands back down one at a time. Extend the legs long, long, long. And then reach the arms overhead. Oh yeah, take that big good morning stretch, because this just feels great. And then float those hands back down by your side. One at a time, bend the knees in. Put the feet onto the mat. And we're going to lift up those knees, and we're just going to do a little side-to-side rocking. So you can let your arms be wide, palms are up. And you see, I'm just kind of shifting the knees side to side. Now, we could get fancy and like do a little ballerina stuff here if that's what you're into. Or you could just let your knees go side to side. Both are important. Neither is better. So just do what's right for you today, but you may notice this real nice massage on that lower back. And the upper body is doing nothing, and that's really nice, right? Shoulders, arms are soft. We just have some stuff happening in that lower body. Again, if you want to start playing with legs straighter or separate, you can do things like that. And that's kind of the point here. We're exploring. So if you want to play like that, go ahead. Another cool option would be if the knees are to, like right now, mine are to the left, then I pick up that top knee, my right knee, and then kind of pulls the hips over. So there's a little bit of momentum at work here, which we don't normally do in our yoga practice. But we're just kind of exploring and seeing what's available today. And then once you've done all of that and you think, yeah, this feels pretty darn good, we'll bring our feet back to the earth. So bring your feet to the earth very gently, one at a time. Put the feet down. And we're going to take our hands back to the belly. So this time we're set up more like for a bridge pose. Our feet are parallel, our thighs are parallel, our shins are parallel, and our heels are pretty close into the bottom. Hands are on the belly. And I'd like you to bring your awareness to that lower back. So there's probably, if you're in a neutral spine right now, there's just this little passageway. You could probably slide a pencil between the floor and your back, right? Now we're going to smash that passageway. So push into your feet, let your belly button go back to the earth. Lower back finds the floor. And then we're going to tip that pelvis the other way. And now there's that little passageway. So it's like the pelvis is a bowl, and we tip the bowl back. And then we're going to tip it forward. So move slowly and just explore what's there. This is a very small movement, right? We're not covering a lot of distance, just a tiny movement to bring that lower back to the floor and then release. And then after the next one, let the spine come back to neutral. So you're neither pushing it down to the earth nor pushing the tailbone away from you, but you're just in that neutral spine. And we're going to move our hands to the hip pointers, so those bones right there. And now we're going to take that pelvic bowl and tip it. So we're going to take the left hip and tip it like up towards the left shoulder. And then come back to neutral, and then right hip tips up towards left shoulder. So the hips stay on the ground. It's just this side to side kind of tipping. And if we have our hands there, just kind of a reminder where things are. So we tip one way and return, and we tip the other way and return. And again, we're not moving far. It's subtle, but it's important. And then even things out, tipping to the right as your last tip, and then just pause and come back to neutral. We're going to take those arms wide again, palms are up, and my arms are lower than my shoulders, right? I'm not up here, I am down here. Elbows are soft, palms are up. Feet are on the earth as if in bridge. And now we're going to tip that pelvis as we did before. Tip the pelvis, let the lower back find the earth. We push into the feet, and we're going to lift up those hips, coming into a bridge pose. Now, this doesn't have to be cover of your good journal bridge pose. This is just a bridge pose for you today. And then we lower. And let's try it again. So tip the pelvis so that the lower back is on the earth. Push into the feet. Lift those hips up just as high as is comfortable for you today. And then from the very top of the spine, we will lower back down. Oh, yes. And we'll do it again. Push into the feet. Lower back finds the earth. And we begin to lift the pelvis, the lower back, the mid back, maybe up into between the shoulders. We're pushing down into the feet and back into the head. And then very slowly we lower from the top of the spine down. We'll do another one. So this time as we lift up, I'd like you to pay attention to where the weight is in your feet. Is it all in the heels? If yes, can you shift some of the weight into the toes? Push into the toes. You may find a little more space in your bridge. And then just as slowly come back down. And then we're just going to do one last one. So lower back on the earth. Push into the feet, both the heels and the toes, to lift those hips up as high as is comfortable for you this morning, this afternoon, whatever time it is. And then once you get to the top, we very slowly, slowly, slowly lower it all. And pause here and notice. Notice how the body feels. Notice any changes in the body. And then one at a time, let's bring those knees in and rock side to side again. Just a gentle, controlled side to side rock. And then we'll put those feet back on the earth. Extend the legs long, one at a time. Left leg, right leg, left. And then reach those arms long overhead. So just take that big good morning stretch. Let this feel wonderful for you. And then float those hands back down alongside the body. Now we're going to come on up and we're going to make our way over to hands and knees for some cat and cow. Now, Mary, you're probably just going to want to sit up for that. We can roll to one side, or if you're looking for, danger, fun, I don't know, you could do a little rock and roll on the spine, only if you want to, right? Just a little momentum, woo, to bring you up and over. And then we'll make our way to hands and knees for a little cat and cow. And if you don't want to do the cat and cow, you do it seated. No problem. Keep my eye on the time. The problem with this room is the clock doesn't have batteries in it, so I have to pay attention. Wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. If you're kneeling, Carol, that's probably you. And then we'll do just a few rounds of this cat and cow motion. Releasing tension, bringing movement into the spine. And just notice how that feels. So do a few more rounds just for you, right? Enjoy it. And then we will pause again. And so, Mary, you're sitting. I'm just trying to think. Probably the best thing to do at this point is we'll all make our way back to our back again. So let's make our way back to the back, and we're going to bring our attention to the hips, to the legs. So we come down, we have both feet on the mat. We're going to bring in the right knee. Yeah. Left foot is still on the floor. And I have that right knee hugged in. And if we take a couple of breaths here, we get that thigh to belly contact. This is really good for our digestive system, like a massage for internal organs. And then we're going to turn our right foot at the ankle and make these slow turns. So we're not in a hurry with these turns. And I'm counting them, and I'm up to, like, this next one's number 8 for me. We'll probably do 12 in this direction. And once you've done about 12 in one direction, pause and go 12 in the other direction. And then just pause and notice how that right foot feels. And then we're going to bring that right knee into the right hand. So my right hand is on top of my right knee. And we're going to make some big circles with that hip. So I can do that with my hand guiding it. Or if I feel comfortable enough without my hand making these big circles, I can do that as well. But let's make like 6 good circles in one direction. And then pause whenever you get to that point. And we'll do 6 good circles in the other direction. And then pause. And we'll bring that knee back in. Extend the left leg long onto the mat. We'll open that right knee out to the right. Bring your left hand on top of that left hip pointer. And then we're going to cross the knee over, take a twist. So the knee comes over, we take a twist, extending that right arm away from you. And notice what this twist feels like. And then return. Let's come back to the back, hugging that right knee in. We'll bend the left leg, put the left foot back on the mat, and this time we'll send that right leg up to the ceiling. Now, I got my hands, I can bring them behind this thigh. You see, my leg isn't super straight, it's just kind of straight. And that's fine. This becomes a hamstring stretch. And, you know, my leg can be farther away from me or closer. I control this. But let's take a few breaths here and just notice how this feels. See if you can soften your shoulders even as you rest here. And then we're going to take that right ankle and we're going to cross it over the left knee. So we come to that little sleeping pigeon here. Now, notice where your lower back is. Is it in a neutral position right now? Probably where it needs to be, neutral. Let's flex this right foot to keep that knee safe. And imagine that with just the muscles of that right thigh, you're pushing that thigh bone away from you. So I am not using my hands at all. As a matter of fact, we can let those arms go out, palms up again, and we rest here. So we will uncross that right leg. We're going to put the right foot back onto the mat. And then we'll extend right leg long. Extend your left leg long. Let the toes flop open. And let's stay in this, we'll call it a mini Shavasana, for like 10 breaths. And just bring that awareness to what's going on. Right hip and thigh, right? We did a lot of motion there. Does it change how that feels compared to the left thigh? Then we'll bend both knees, one at a time, put both feet back onto the mat. And we'll hug in the left knee. So here we go, a few breaths here on this side to massage that descending colon, transverse colon and descending colon. And then we're gonna turn that foot at the ankle. So slow circles, you know, we have like 12 this way. So just getting all of those cracks and pops out of that ankle, exploring the motion within it. And after we go 12 in one direction, we pause and go the other way. And then pause and just notice how that feels in that ankle. We're going to release the right hand and keep the left knee, left hand together, and we're going to make 6 big circles into that hip. And when I say big circles, that means big for you, right? So if big is just this big, and for me on this side it's this big, that's fine. And after we do 6 on one side, we pause and make the circle go the other way. And then we'll hug that knee and we'll extend the right leg long onto the mat. And we're going to take that left knee out to the left. Let that thigh open. Notice what that feels like. And then we take the twist, cross it over. And then we'll untwist, we'll come back to center, hug that knee in, put your right foot back on the earth, send your left leg to the ceiling, interlacing hands behind, like I have it behind my thigh. If you want to go up there, you can. Just moving to that hamstring stretch, noticing what that feels like. And then we're going to take that ankle and cross it over the right knee. Flex the left foot, keep it active. And with just the power of that left thigh, push that thigh bone away from you. Arms can be wide. Now we'll uncross that left leg, put the left foot on the mat, and then extend it long onto the floor. Extend the right leg down onto the floor. Arms are out, palms are up. And let's stay here. We get about 10 breaths here, just noticing how the hips, the legs, all the way down to the feet. Notice how that feels. And then one at a time, we're gonna bend the knees, put the feet back on the mat again. And this time, let's let the feet be wider than the hips. Let them be away from the hips. So we're not in bridge right now. We're not headed to bridge. But we want this to feel soft and gentle on the lower body. We'll bring the hands back to the belly. Coming back to our constructive rest pose where we started the practice. And you know what, from here, let's very gently turn the head one side to the other to bring a little motion back into head and neck. Because that kind of feels good. And then return to stillness in the center. We're going to roll to one side and push ourselves up to seated. Now we get all of our props and figure out what we're going to do next. So we need our cushion. I'm fortunate. I'm here at the Survivorship Center. She had a bolster for me. And we need 2 blocks. So we're putting this cushion across the mat wideways, so it's going across. And then I'm going to put 1 block there and then boop, a second one over here. Now, in this case, remember, I'm the germaphobe, right? Yeah. So in this case, I'm going to cue based on where I'm sitting because I don't know which way you're set up, but it'll work no matter what. We'll do both sides, so don't sweat this. I'm putting my left hip next to the bolster and my knees are bent. And then I'm going to let my body reach over the bolster and my head is coming down to rest on this block. This block is in that mama bear height position, right? Middle height. So my hips are on the floor, my head is on the block. And now my top arm is going to reach up and over. And this feels fantastic for me. Now, this might not be where you want to be. You might want to be here. That's fine. But I want the arm supported so that it's not kind of dangling there. So use a block, use a rolled up blanket. You have many choices, a book. One of my students in the class that I teach on Monday mornings used a can of tomatoes, which I thought was interesting. So this is a side body stretch. As you breathe here, you will notice that you experience the stretch between the ribs, right? You're breathing, expanding and contracting into those ribs. Now, the nice thing about this, in my opinion, is that I've got this channel for my arm and my shoulder, right? So nothing's pushing on my shoulder. It's just kind of resting there. And my arm is resting on the floor. So it's fully supported. My top arm is fully supported. My body is supported so that I can rest here. So this is our first held pose. We're going to be here for about 3 minutes, and then we're going to switch to the other side. So rest here once you get set up. I'm keeping track of the time, and we'll be all set. So we're going to begin to move from this pose. So that arm that's reaching up and over, let's bring that back down to that cushion in front of you. And then we're going to push ourselves up. Now, we pause here for a moment. This is that focus and awareness part. And then the easiest way to do this is to kind of bring your back to it. And then turn the other way. So that's the easiest way to get into the pose without too much moving around, too much jarring of the nervous system. And that's what I would recommend. So bring your other side to the bolster. Stretch your body over, let your head rest on that block that's on that mama bear position, and then let that top arm reach for that other block and rest here. Again, I am keeping track of the time, so don't worry, we'll even things out. Okay, we'll begin our motion, our movement from this pose. So take that top arm and bring it down to that cushion in front of you. And then push yourself up and make your way to a comfortable seat. So that might mean you're going to sit crisscross applesauce on the floor, on the cushion. You could kneel. I'm kind of sitting back on my heels, kneeling right now. But I'd ask you to just come to something comfortable and just pause and notice, right? Notice what it's like on the side of the body now. So that's a super asymmetrical pose, right? We stretch one side, then we stretch the other, and we hope that we even things out. This next one's pretty darn symmetrical. So we're going to take our blocks or some sort of support. This could easily be rolled up blankets. And we're going to build, I call it a bunker. So I've got this cushion at an angle supported by those blocks. Now, if I were at home, I'd have a stack of towels and blankets, but we don't have those here, and I couldn't bring them with me today. It was too much to carry. So if you have a blanket or beach towel, that'd be real nice on the other side. We're coming into a supported chair pose. So this bunker here, my thighs are going to go here, my bum here, thighs here, And then my feet are coming over and I'd like them to rest on that pile of blankets or whatever you got. So I'm kind of faking it with this. We'll see how it works. Yeah. So what has happened? Oh yeah, this is good. My feet are supported. That's what I want. I want something under there so that my feet aren't dangling. My bottom is real close to this bolster and my thighs are fully supported all the way up. And then my feet are supported. So everything right now, all of my body is supported by the earth or by these other structures that we've built. And that means I can relax. So let's let the arms be palms up. And we're going to be here for a few minutes and then we're going to do a little bit of motion with the arms. We've done a lot to release tension in the lower body, side body. We'll add the arms next, but let's rest here in stillness. Come back to your breath. Even out that breath. Now we're going to begin to add some motion to the arms. So let's first turn the head one side to the other, bringing a little motion into the neck. And then wiggle those fingers a little bit and turn the hands at the wrists. And then we're going to reach those arms straight up to the ceiling. Let the palms face one another. And then we're going to take those arms all the way up. You see how my shoulders have lifted up off the floor? And then I'm going to bring my shoulders back to the earth. So let's try this with the breath. Inhale, let the inhale lift those fingertips closer to the ceiling. And as we exhale, those shoulders come back to the earth. 2 more. Now we're going to give ourselves a big hug. We're going to cross that right arm on top of the left and give ourselves a hug. And you can just let the arms rest on the body, whether they rest on the chest or on the chin. Just rest here. Return to the even breaths. Let's uncross and reach those arms back up to the ceiling, palms face one another. Let's take it all the way up, fingertips reach on that inhale. And exhale, let those shoulder blades come back to the earth. Let's try it again. And release. One more lift. And one more release. And then we come back to the hug, but this time it's left arm on top of right. We give ourselves that hug. We let those elbows rest wherever they want to on the body. And we breathe here. We'll uncross those arms, send them back up to the ceiling, and then soften into the elbows. Let the elbows float down. Let the arms open wide, palms are up. And come back to that initial resting place. So rest there. Come back to the even breath. And then let's hug the knees into the body now. And very gently roll one side or the other, roll to one side or the other, and push yourself up to a comfortable seat. Again, we pause, we let the glitter settle. We try not to stress the nervous system. And then we're going to clean our mats. So let's move stuff off the mat, move it out of the way, because we need a little bit of space. We'll get back to it. I promise we'll use these supports for our final relaxation posture. So once we've cleared that mat, let's make our way back down to our backs. Here we go. Our feet are away from the body and wide. So this time, let's put the pinky toes on the edge of the mat. Arms are out, palms are up. Now I'm going to start with my left side so you can see what's happening here. I'm going to lift my left fingers up and then bend my left wrist, bend my left elbow, bring my left hand to my left collarbone. And then I'm going to slide it across to the right collarbone and all the way across my right arm. You'll notice my knees have turned to the right. My whole body twists to the right. And then I'm going to slide that arm all the way back and my knees just kind of follow. And so now we're going to do the other side so you can see what happens on the other side. So my right fingers look for the ceiling and then my wrist and then my elbow bends. And that right hand comes to my right collarbone and I slide it all the way across. Now you see my knees just started to follow me naturally. Very organic movement. I'm going to push this hand all the way past. See, if I were on the floor, it's all the way past. My bottom hand is under there, all the way past. So I'm getting a nice big opening in the back of my shoulder blades. And then I'm coming back to neutral. So let's try that again with the left hand. Let it get to that left shoulder collarbone and push all the way across. And then open back up. And then we take the right hand and go all the way across. And this should kind of feel wonderful. If it doesn't, make the adjustments that you need so that it does. Now we'll try and bring in a little novelty to this one. So we're on this side again, right? Left fingers, let's take it all the way over. Once you get past, push those hands past. Push that top hand past the bottom hand. Then we're going to take that arm in a sloppy circle above the head. It's just kind of drag around the floor and then boom, you're back. Do it with the right hand. And make that sloppy circle all the way around. One more on each side. And then just come back to that normal. Notice how you feel. We'll drop the knees one side or the other. We'll take the whole body over and then we'll push ourselves up. And we'll set ourselves up for our final relaxation pose. So my thinking, we gotta love that symmetry for the body, for the nervous system. So I would like us to build a ramp. And if you have extra blankets and towels and things, and if you didn't join me in that earlier class, I have no power where I live and no internet. It's like being Little House on the Prairie, okay? So that's why I came here. This is not my normal setup. Samantha offered that I could teach from here, which is a great idea. But things are a little different today and we're being real flexible, and I thank you for that. So I don't have a stack of blankets. They don't have blankets here, but I found this bolster. And I'm gonna stick that under my legs. So my bottom's going to the base of the bolster. This is supporting my spine. If I had a blanket, I would put it underneath my head. Matter of fact, I've got this towel I can roll up and put underneath my head to support that head and neck. Yep. And then I can let my legs go long because now my thighs are supported, my heels are supported, my whole body's supported. Maybe 2 more blocks would be nice for me underneath my hands, like right underneath my forearm. But this is not a bad place to be. And this is going to be our final relaxation pose. So rest here in this pose. Get into it. Take your time to make it wonderful for you. And we have a good 6-7 minutes to just rest. Let the tongue come away from the roof of your mouth and rest in the lower arch of the jaw. And allow the breath to come naturally. So you don't have to manage it anymore. But if you start to think about your next activity or what you're cooking for dinner or what do you have to do, then I would advise gently come back and just notice the breath as it comes in and out of the body. without moving. Just begin to deepen your breath. And bring your awareness back to that room where you are practicing yoga. And begin to bring a little bit of motion into head and neck, gently turning the head one side to the other. And then let the head and neck be still and bring motion into fingers and wrists, perhaps into your feet and your ankles. And if it feels okay, you can bend your knees and put your feet on the mat, kicking away whatever was supporting your legs, if that's okay, or reach and move it. And we're going to make our way onto our right side. So you can either scooch your body so that you're resting on that pillow, or you can come off and rest on the floor using your right arm like a pillow. And once you get there, just pause and notice how you feel. So when you're ready, push yourselves up to a comfortable seat. I'm sitting on a cushion and a little crisscross applesauce. That's what feels right for me right now. We'll sit up tall and we'll let that glitter settle, right? All of that energy is moving around right now. Let's let our next inhale open our arms wide, just a gentle opening, like we're receiving a gift. Kind of a big inhale here. And as we exhale, we'll bring those palms together, uniting left and right halves of the body. Let the thumbs rest on your sternum. We'll close our eyes, we'll tuck our chin, and maybe now is a good time to set an intention for what we want for the rest of our day. How do we want the rest of our day to go? Let's bring that to the front of our mind, to the front of our hearts. It's my hope that the fruits of this practice give us the resilience that we need to take on the challenges in the week and the month ahead. Thank you very much for joining me. I will say namaste. I will ask you to unmute yourselves so that we can say namaste to one another. But thank you, my friends. I will see you next week. Hopefully, I'll have power again. Who knows?
Thank
Here
you.
we are. Thank you, my dear. Thanks, Mary. Thank you, Carol.
Get in.
We have someone listed as Seymour Guest. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Hope your power gets back on.
Yeah, it's frustrating. Like I said, it's like a little house on the prairie. We ate by candle last night. Very romantic. Yeah. So
As long as you're